BBC Sounds. Music, radio, podcasts.
Wake Up to Money with Felicity Hannah.
Good morning. Welcome to Wake Up to Money on Friday, the 26th of May. It is just after 5 o'clock. And inflation, immigration, energy, lots of numbers around this week. We're going to spend some time working out exactly what it is that they tell us. But also, you've made it. It's Friday. It's about to be a bank holiday weekend. Somehow the sun seems to be shining. At least it has been shining here in Salford. If you're the parent of school-age kids in England and Wales, this is probably the start of their half term. So are you thinking about getting away? Maybe next week? Maybe in the next few months, maybe you're planning a big summer break, or have you scaled it all back because of the cost of living? Get in touch, let me know. You can text me on 85058. You can send a WhatsApp message to 08085 909 693. If you're listening to us on BBC Sounds, just use the hashtag #WakeUpToMoney on social media. Now, I have got my usual Friday panel of erudite experts with me this morning. I'm joined by Lucy Coutts, who's Investment Director at JM Fin, by Christine Aquino, who's Managing Editor at Bloomberg Markets Today, which is Bloomberg's live blog for news and analysis on all things UK, and Zreen Mansha, CEO and founder of Travel Scotland, which is an online booking platform. And you're also the founder of Biz Women, which is a network for businesswomen in Manchester. Did you not have enough to do with the day job?
I loved it. It started as a passion project and I got carried away with it, Felicity. That's what happened.
That's what always happens, isn't it? Well, good morning to you, and good morning, Lucy and Christine. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
That's it. That's what I need to hear. People out there, good morning. Zreen, let's talk travel, because I have been trying to book a summer break up in Nairn. You're founder of Travel Scotland. So many places seem to already be booked. Is this set to be a good year for Scottish tourism?
Yes, it is, definitely. I think what's happened is over the last few years, over COVID, there's been people not wanting to travel much because of the lockdown. And in the last year, in fact, we're seeing that increasing. Numbers are coming back again. Places are getting booked over. And I think this year it's going to be an incredibly busy year for those, especially that had those trips cancelled during COVID. They're getting rebooked again. We're seeing that now.
Seeing that? Oh,
yeah, we are.
Okay. I mean, it's quite shocking, isn't it, when you think about what we've seen over the last more than a decade of those record low interest rates. This is a very, very different environment. Zreen, how are you feeling? Like, in your day-to-day life, are you feeling that inflation is starting to come down, or I suppose prices are still rising very, very quickly?
I think there's been so much unpredictability for businesses, small businesses, for my own businesses, and for especially with Biz Women, I'm looking at it for other businesses as well. And I think what's happening over time is people are now becoming very more conscious about where they're spending their money.
How's it playing out in terms of the kind of holidays that people are planning? So we've just had a message from who? From Nick on Twitter saying, I'm really hoping to get a cheap last-minute overseas deal in October, as my wife has just had a hip operation, but prices are still too high. Is the high cost of living, is that driving people to try and find cheap locations overseas, or are they finding it cheaper to holiday here in the UK?
You know, this is something that I have said for many years, is that it seems like it's cheaper getting a holiday abroad than it is finding a holiday here, a staycation. You're looking at it being cheaper getting a flight. We're hearing about Ryanair. We can hear that they're profiting, but actually it's cheaper getting a flight to Barcelona than it is to get a train from Manchester to Glasgow, for example. So these are all things that affect and impact, how people are booking their holidays domestically. I think that's cutting down. It's more international, and so these are the trends. Unfortunately, we're seeing more people in the UK trying to look for holidays abroad and a bit more sunshine.
Now, overnight, we've also heard that there are problems with BA flights being affected by another IT issue. Why is it always at the start of half term? It's always, I swear, when everyone's trying to get away. Get in touch with me if you are one of the people affected by those problems that we saw yesterday. Zreen, do you agree with John that fuel prices are not really going to make much difference to travellers?
I reckon, when you're looking at holidays abroad, people are more than likely able to ignore the extra £5, £10. That doesn't really seem to apply as much. I think it's more when you're talking about your hundreds that it does. And sometimes that volatility in flights can happen depending on season.
Well, we could do with some sunshine. Although actually, here in Salford, here in the northwest of England, we have had a glorious few days. It's been fantastic. Christine, what was your reaction to those Ryanair profits, the first profits since the pandemic?
Yeah, it's very astounding numbers indeed, Felicity. And I think, what Zreen and Lucy both said, it is very much reflective of the environment that we're in. Consumers are still very much all about that revenge spending after a couple of years being stuck at home during the pandemic.
Did you say revenge spending?
Yes, that is very much a thing. I think we're still in the middle of it. And, as Zreen was mentioning earlier, there's still very much demand for holidays, especially going abroad. And I think what we're seeing as well, despite the cost of living crisis, what we're seeing is consumers not necessarily foregoing luxuries like travel, but more reallocating their spending so that they can still set aside some funds for travel. If that means that they have to downgrade in terms of their everyday necessities, like buying less branded groceries and whatnot, that means that they can have more money for traveling, then they're going to do it. And we've heard from our listeners as well that they really want to prioritize travel, despite the fact that costs everywhere are just higher at the moment.
I'm going to use revenge spending as a reason to go and buy that dress I've been eyeing up all week. Zreen, when you look at Ryanair's prices, average fares up 50%, but still just over £35. Does that make it hard to compete with, you referred to a Scotland break as a staycation, and we always get texts when we talk about staycations, people say, oh, you mean at home, but a UK-based holiday. Is it hard for the UK to compete with somewhere certainly sunnier overseas?
I am actually quite surprised at the amount and number of people that I've come across in England, this side of the border, that haven't ever been to Scotland at all, but have been to Morocco, have been to Spain, Turkey, have been to all of these other wonderful places, but not seen Scotland. And I do think that is to do with how accessibility comes under affordability as well. And I think one of the things that, we've talked about is sunshine, but actually last few years have been quite a depressing time for the UK and for the world, actually. And I think one of the reasons people are now really willing to spend that money as well is because we know that travel does help mental health. It's escapism. It's a break mentally from everything that's going on. And I think these are the reasons why people don't mind spending that little bit extra to get away, basically.
So the founder of Travel Scotland says sunshine not a necessity in a summer break. I think
Scotland's nice and sunny right now, guys.
It's lovely there.
Wake Up to Money with Felicity Hannah.
Good morning. If you're just joining us, welcome to Wake Up to Money. You've missed all the holiday chat. We've been talking about sun, Scotland and getting overseas, and a lot of you have been getting in touch. On Twitter, Alison says everything suddenly seems so expensive. Our usual villa holiday in the Med is currently on hold. And Lisa says, even I haven't been away since Christmas, when I'm usually away every few weeks. Things are so expensive at the moment. Keep your thoughts coming this morning. I'm always fascinated by how we all end up talking in this really tangled way when we're talking about inflation coming down, but prices are still going up. Stood out for me when he was saying prices are going to start to go up less quickly. I think it all feels slightly tangled, doesn't it? Zreen is still with me. Hang on, Zreen, let me pull up your full job title. Zreen Mansha, CEO and founder of Travel Scotland, and also the founder of Biz Women, which is a network for business women in Manchester. What are you seeing? These rising prices, are you cutting back?
Even if you look at smaller businesses, my own business, it directly impacted the prices, the rates of offices, where people are now based. People are now, for example, even in the northwest here, rather than being central in Manchester, they're looking at offices elsewhere around. So these are all overheads that businesses are now having to kind of swallow.
That's it from Wake Up to Money. Don't forget to subscribe on BBC Sounds or wherever you get your podcasts. And when you do, we'd love it if you'd leave us a review. You can also contact us anytime on social media using the hashtag WakeUpToMoney.